Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Coach's Mind Games. And we will tackle sport topics with a mental diversity and social approach. And just like in my last session, we'd like you to go ahead and donate to worthwhile causes. And for this session, it's the same thing. If you could donate to NAACP.org or your local chapter, if you may. And yes, so for today's session, it's going to be about solutions. I think I should have added an S here. Or maybe a solution, because we should all be part of the solution of everything that's going on. I'm sounding a little bit somber, to say the least, with everything that's going on. And upon sleeping and praying about things, I just need to be involved in one shape or form. I don't have a really logical approach. I'm just free-flowing here, if you may. So, as I've shared in my previous sessions, my background is in psychology and counseling. I've taught those courses. And one of the courses that I've taught is multiculturalism and diversity courses. And I'm going to say, as I've said before, and I'm going to say it again, it's the most challenging course that I have taught. The reason being, it's not because the concepts are hard, but the meanings behind it are challenging. That's what makes it hard. And the other thing too is that though there are certain things where I can easily say I'm representative of certain categories or characteristics of who I am as an individual and community member, but I am not going to say I am the expert of those categories or characteristics. How much more when I have to discuss things or topics or subject matter that I may not directly relate to. And all I can do is share pretty much what the book has. And what the book presents, and have my students to share their own respective experiences or perspectives on them, because no way am I going to be an expert of such things. If I teach lifespan development, intro to psych, counseling and personal development courses, all these basic courses, I'm still not going to say I'm an expert on them, but I feel confident when I discuss such things that I have enough know-how that I can explain and share and apply such principles. But when it comes to diversity courses, with these different perspectives in life, I am far from it. I always use this as a perfect example. Obviously, I'm male. Biologically, I have X and Y chromosomes. It's not a matter of choice. That's what I have to be the being that I am. And even if I have mom, sisters, wife, family members, close friends that are females, I can never ever walk in their shoes. I can never ever truly experience what they go through. How much more all the other facets in life? Now, you might be thinking, why am I talking about these things on Coach's Mind Games? We're supposed to be talking about sports. As you guys already know, with what happened to Mr. George Floyd, from what I know is that he was an athlete and played sports. I'm not using him and what happened to him and his family and his loved ones to promote myself, but hopefully to promote the ideas that I would be sharing to each and every one of you. So as I mentioned from the title, that we, with Coach's Mind Games, we tackle things from a mental diversity and social perspectives. And that's the thing. He is just one among many that have suffered stuff that may not necessarily be deemed fair or appropriate or right or just. I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and say I know everything about this situation. Just like my premise, I am not an expert on such courses. I'm not even sure if I there's a lot of things that I'm not sure of. However, the things that I'm very much sure of is how uneasy I am with everything that's going on. With me feeling upset, to say the least, of what happened. So we can continue to identify such problems, but we need to really start identifying the solutions to these situations. And for the most part, I'll just be asking questions because I am not smart enough or educated enough to solve all of these things. But hopefully we can use this again as a continued dialogue. And sure, dialogue is important, but at the same time, we need specific responses and actions so that we can avoid such travesties. I know in the African American community that such injustices continue to happen, especially when it comes to our police officers. And here's my question. What if there is no specific video of this? Just like the video decades ago with Mr. Rodney King. What if there are no videos of these? Are we where we are right now? Are we going to let's backtrack. Why do we need this to happen? Why do we need this to surface? Why does it have to take a person's life in such brutal and inhumane manner? Before these things go ahead and take place. Now, unfortunately, it has happened, but hopefully let's not put it in vain. And let's all learn from it. Let's all think a little bit better. Judge a little bit better. Be a little bit more informed and educated. And hopefully this world will be a better place. So what are the solutions that we can go ahead and provide? Unfortunately, amidst this pandemic, these protests are going on, and we're not sure on how things will get worse from COVID-19 point of view. And I can't exactly remember who to quote wherein I read or saw a video about this is a pandemic within the pandemic. So this is brought up there. That's good. That's great. There are multiple organizations, influential leaders, common people like me, trying to go ahead and find ways on how we can be the solution here. So no doubt conversation is part of it. But here's my question. If we still have to go ahead and explain that there are these systemic issues, to say the least, and unconscious bias that's prevalent on how we are and react and behave on certain things. If we still have to explain it, it's disheartening. But I guess this is where education will go ahead and come in. That we have these conversations, and hopefully with these conversations we are able to commit to social actions and changes that is sustainable, and that's just not lip service. I can continue to do that by continuing to learn more about myself and how I am. So when I teach Psychology 101 with Dr. Banaji's unconscious bias questionnaire, I've taken that over and over. And I will always have that unconscious bias of light-skinned over dark-skinned. And I'm really trying to reflect, why is that the case? Let me share a little bit of a story here. And it's not a matter of me identifying what's right or what's wrong. We're putting blame on certain things. It's just really understanding myself a little bit further, why that is the case. So I grew up in the Philippines, and we are under Hispanic rule for hundreds of years. I'm not really familiar with the right term, but there seems to be like a hierarchy or caste system. That obviously, if you're Spanish living in the Philippines, that you are a premier citizen, if you may. And us, Indios, meaning who were originally there until Spanish conquered our country. Spain conquered our country. That were nothing but second, third class citizens or human beings. And one of the things growing up is that if you are light-skinned, it's more preferred, basically. We call them mestizos. And being a mestizo is a good thing. It's a good characteristic. Skin pigmentation. And sad to say, there was a phase in my life that I did want to whiten my skin. Can you believe that? You want to go ahead and change the pigmentation of your skin because you think you will be a better person by doing that. And aside from that Spanish rule, it's also a matter of what we see on television and media, from Hollywood to whatever is happening locally in our country. I mean, I'm serious about it. really identify from all the cartoons that you have watched, what's the skin color of the heroes? What's their build? What's their hair color? What's the color of their eyes? And compare that to anti-heroes. I know there's already science to provide and numbers and statistics to provide that, but really, rattle it in your head. How many heroes? And this is cartoons, okay? How many heroes that are light-skinned? And how many anti-heroes that are dark-skinned? Whether it's green, purple, blue, whatever. I think it starts there. It's ingrained in our minds that being good is white. And if you're not white, you're on that side. And so this is my challenge to Hollywood, to cartoon makers. How can we start changing such things? In terms of mainstream blockbuster movies, it's all one skin tone. In terms of heroes, if you may, for the most part, versus anti-heroes. And if you also look at the people in terms of the background, these extras, why is it when it comes to, for example, a high society function, it's predominantly white and there's no other representation of any other color, any other ethnicity, any other religious background? It's so square. So that's my challenge to Hollywood. That's my challenge to you guys. And I know there's a lot of you guys in Hollywood who are allies of this, and we appreciate that. But we need to find better representations in our movies and our television shows of what the community and what the world is like. Because all of these things that we see in media through and through, one way or another, is ingrained in our minds. And here's the other thing too. Go ahead and define white. Go ahead and define black. Go ahead and search in all types of dictionary out there. How is white portrayed and what is dark or black portrayed? So even in our language, that idea is already ingrained. That white is good and dark or black is the opposite of it. Just look at the definition, how we officially define things. So we all continue to go ahead and find ways of learning more about ourselves and how we work in our communities. And hopefully we will all become better individuals. And every semester I have taught these diversity courses. I will always have students, one student at least, every semester. Each student is different. And they'll approach me outside of class and kind of mumble, I have something to say. And I said, oh, okay, sure, what do you want to share? And they go ahead and say, I'm a closet white supremacist. The first time I heard that, I was I wasn't too sure what to go or how to go about it. But for me, when I teach these diversity courses, I try to avoid imposing my own principles or values, because I'm not going to say my own specific principles and values are correct or universal. And so all I can go ahead and say is thank you for trusting me, and hopefully this course has helped you to open your blinders a little bit further and rethink how you view human beings. And then the next semester comes in again, and I'll have another student approach me, and another semester. I think on the fifth, sixth semester, I was already used that somebody's going to approach me. Am I wrong to go ahead and tell them and not tell them that that's wrong? I'm not sure if I'll be the judge of that, but I think it would be stronger that the change comes from within, not from me telling them. And with that, it's the 27th minute. And again, for Breonna Taylor, this, I believe, was supposed to be her birthday. And it's supposed to be her 27th birthday. And again, I'm not an expert in everything, but it sounds wrong of what happened to her as well. And again, this is one among many. One among many. Two among many. That has suffered as such. And we're not too sure about the justice being declared. So I just want to stop there on the 27th minute. That's the longest 8 minutes and 43 seconds for me. And I can't even imagine what those 8 minutes and 43 seconds are for Mr. Floyd. And again, for everybody else. And that's on all sides wherein injustice continue to take place in a systematic way. So I think I'll just wrap this up that no, I'm not a saint. I've had my flaws. I've had my moments wherein I exhibited as a flawed human being that I am. But all I can continue to do is just continue to get better, continue to be educated, continue to think critically and scientifically. And maybe all I can ask for you among everything that's going on is the same. That we all continue to go ahead and be better for one another. So, and with that, last few thoughts here. So I'm wearing orange right now to wear an orange wording. Gun violence awareness. I'm so saddened on the day wherein obviously there were people that passed away in Vegas when that guy fired on concert goers. And it was around Halloween time. And I have a kid, and I have to prepare my kid for an event that's possible that could happen where we were planning to go. We were planning to go to a crowded place. And we had to go ahead and practice what we will do just in case if those things happen. And he cried a lot. I'm so sad that my kid had to cry because of that. And some of my friends asked me if in the Philippines if this is a problem. I had to rethink, at least from the days where I was there, is that I don't think guns are a big problem for us. These mass shootings of random stuff. It's more of just having food on the table. That was more of our concern. I understand about rights and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to go ahead and make sense myself. Is it okay for me to buy a tank? I'm not so sure either. I mean, up to what level can I go ahead and get such things? The other thing too is talking about the Philippines and all of these protests going on. So we've had two, we call them people power. Feel free to search it. Bottom line is that we were able to oust dictators and people in power that are pretty much abusive of their power. And obviously, these individuals or people that follow them will go ahead and say they're not abusive, that they're actually the victims when they're ousted from power because we peacefully enacted as a community to go ahead and say enough is enough. And so with all of these protests going on, yes, we'll continue to find ways that enough is enough. But other than that, we continue to find the solutions. And as politics in the Philippines seem to be rigged in so many levels, I'm not here to really discuss such things, but we can go ahead and say that the results are questionable, to say the least. For us here in the United States, if you have if you can vote, be active. Really learn who to vote for locally and all the way to the federal level. Just be engaged. So that way we can continue to identify the changes for things to get better in all levels. And again, I'll just place a mirror here, looking at myself, and hopefully you're looking at yourself, and how we can all be to continue to get better as human beings. And if I'm asking that of myself, hopefully you'll get up to that challenge too. So thank you for today's Mind Games. I know normally I'll have like a sponsor or something, but I don't think it's the right session for that to happen. Thank you, and to Mr. Floyd's, Miss Taylor's family, and everybody else not mentioned, everybody else that have suffered such consequences. And we don't have a video to go ahead and commemorate you. So we're praying for you. We're praying for everyone. You guys take care and be safe. Thank you.